This is the second half of 5.40. So if we take a look at the first sentence, it looks to me like nulla pars is going to be the subject. So nulla, modifying pars there. Pars is the subject. Oh boy, that's a terrible S, but you get the idea. And if I'm following along, I see a prepositional phrase, ad laborem, and then finally I see a verb, intermittitur. That's going to be my first main verb. And nocturni and temporis both look genitive. So what does it all say? No part of the nighttime is, and it's passive voice here, we could say no part of the nighttime is neglected toward work. In other words, they worked all night long. No part of the nighttime is discontinued, is ceased toward work, something along those lines. And then we have this, non aegris non vulneratis facultas quietis datur. Well, verb is datur, another passive voice verb. What looks to me like the subject is actually facultas, and you might see the as ending and assume that it's accusative plural, but facultas is a third declension noun, and this is just what it looks like in the nominative, and it means opportunity. So opportunity, quietis, opportunity for quiet or for rest, or actually, I think that's a mistake. That shouldn't be a long I, it should be a short I. So I think it's genitive here. Opportunity of quiet or of rest is given neither to the weak nor to the wounded. So everybody's working hard. In the next sentence, it looks like we're starting off with some sort of clause, because quaecumque is one of those Q words. And I'm going to use punctuation as my friend and end it at sunt. The main verb inside the clause will be sunt. And the thing about this is opus sunt is actually an idiom in Latin that means that there is a need, or it is necessary. So we have a prepositional phrase here, starting with ad, and proximi diei, those are both genitive, but the object of the preposition is right here, o pugnationem. And then we go a little bit farther, noctu comparantur would be the main verb. So how does this all translate? Whatever things, opus sunt, are needed ad opugnationem, for the attack proximi diei, of the next day, comparantur, are prepared for at night. So whatever things are needed for the attack of the next day are prepared for at night. And then Caesar tells us very specifically what those things are. And here we get a lot of very technical military terminology. It may not make a lot of sense. I'll try and show you guys some pictures next class, and maybe hopefully it will click. So we have multi, priustai, sudes. Those are all nominative. And multi and priuste are describing sudes, which is the subject, one of the subjects. But then we have magnus, another nominative word, moralium pilorum, those look genitive to me, numerus, so magnus goes with numerus, a great number. And then finally at the end, instituitur, main verb, once again passive voice. So just becomes a matter of vocab. So many heavy beams or stakes having been burnt at the end, and a great number of wall javelins, these are like very heavy javelins that you throw from the top of the wall, instituitur, are built or are constructed. Why burn it with wood? If you burn it, why burn the wood here? It actually makes it harder, which of course then will inflict more damage on your enemy. So we've built these big wall javelins you throw from the wall, and we've built some heavy pikes. And what about this? Tures Contabulantur. Contabulantur would be the verb. Tures is the subject. We've seen that already. Turrets. Turrets are being built or built up. And then we have penai loricaeque ex cratibus atexuntur. Ex cratibus is a prep phrase. Atexuntur, main verb, once again, passive voice. Penai and loricae are going to be the subjects here. So then, what are penai? Well, it can mean feather, but it doesn't mean feather here. Another definition for it is parapet, and I'll show you what a parapet is, a picture next class. So parapets and loricae, which are deflective walls or screens, something like that. Parapets and walls are woven from wicker. Okay, so lots of things being prepared at night for the next day's battle. And finally, we see Cicero himself, ipse Cicero, Cicero himself. And then we have some sort of clause that starts with cum, and we're going to go until we can find our subjunctive, which looks like it would be right here at esset. Esset would be the main verb inside the clause. Oh, dear God. That is just terrible. Okay. Tenuissima and valetudine. Those look ablative to me. And then if we keep going, I need to find the main verb of the sentence. Aha, there it is. Relinquebat. Looks good. I see a prep phrase at ad quietem. And nocturnum and tempus both look accusative to me, probably the direct object of relinquebat. And then we've got some sort of clause here as evidenced by ut. Main verb of the clause would be cogeretur. All right. And then inside this clause I see parcere, which is an infinitive. And now let's just try and piece it all together. So we have Cicero himself. Cum, we know, usually means when. So we'll try translating as when. We might play with that in just a second. When he was, this is one of those ablatives of description, when he was of the most slight health, meaning he's pretty sick, of the most delicate health, not even was leaving behind for himself nighttime to rest, or for quiet, so that, moreover, he was forced to spare himself by the literally the running together, meaning like some of the soldiers got together, by the running together and by the voices of the soldiers. In other words, the soldiers themselves eventually had to make Cicero rest. Now, because of the second half of the sentence, I feel like it's sort of setting up a, it's sort of in contradiction in some ways to the first half of the sentence. And so I think one way that we should translate cum here would be although. So Cicero himself, although he was of very delicate health, not even was leaving behind the nighttime for himself to rest, so that moreover he was forced by a running together and by the voices of the soldiers to spare himself. All right, that's it. Thank you.